me where pies go when they die.
You're the most cold-blooded man I've ever seen.
How can you have any meat if you don't eat your pudding?
The Tommy Boyds Show.
Back and to the left. Yeah.
The show with more endurance than radiation itself.
You say either, and I say either.
Apparently official.
Stand by, please.
Tommy Boyds.
Apparently official.
Have you no compassion?
Stand by, please.
Let's rehang the pictures in the gallery of life.
There is no escaping here.
Tommy Boyds.
Yeah. Speaking of escapes, I've just had a look out the window, and there you can tell that some people are already beginning to hightail it for the long weekend. What is it, 4:05, it's Friday, and so I guess, yeah, most people aren't going to be doing, a lot of people aren't going to be doing anything until Tuesday. But what I noticed on the way here, and I've noticed it just now, is that where we are, you get an awful lot of people asking you for spare change. I always used to hesitate to call them beggars, but there isn't any other word for it. And this is distinct from the homeless, although most people would assume that people who are begging also don't have a home to go to. How much truth there is in that assumption, we'll probably never ever know. But the beggars seem to have been set off for a long weekend as well. So it makes you wonder, that's all. On my way here from the station to Talk Radio, I just got asked for my spare change if I had any. I think only twice, which is, averagely it's about between 7 and 10 times. And on a good day, I could get asked every 30 or 40 yards if I've got any spare change. They don't go away for the bank holiday Monday, do they? Let's talk about people who ask you for your spare change, and let's exchange all the feelings that we have when it happens and pass on one or two tips as well. Because, even Howard Hughes or Bill Gates with his billions, frankly, couldn't afford one circumnavigation of this country, never mind about the planet, digging deep for 50 pence every time somebody said, have you got any spare change, in a kind of a mantra, monotonous way, such that they don't understand the full impact or even the meaning of each of the individual words in the sentence. It just comes out as you go past, Pavlovian fashion. There's some feet in front of me on the pavement. Have you got any spare change? And on you go. And they don't notice your existence. But you hopefully are speared through your very heart by what you have just heard and seen, and the imaginings that you have of their lives, and your gratitude that for the moment at least this is not you or your children. What is done to you, even if you hand over your 50 pence. And do you? Do you? I don't anymore. And yeah, I can afford it, but I don't. I'm, what's the term? I'm somethinged out. I'm compassioned out. Free call 0500 10 53 89. But what do you say? Paul has got a good one. He works on the show. We were talking about this again when we were looking out of the window, noticing that all the people who ask for spare change aren't around this afternoon. Are they making a long weekend of it? He said, I say, when they say, have you got any spare change? He says, I'm skint. And he said it's great because you don't feel diminished. They look back and they go, okay, mate, as if to say, you may pass, friend, or you're allowed to go without paying either 50 pence or a volume of guilt. Free call 0500 10 53 89. And if you give, how much do you give? And do you choose? Does it depend on how much spare change there is? Spare change? What's spare change? There's a recession coming. What is spare change? You could spend it, couldn't you? There is no spare change. But how do you decide to which and how much? But what do you say? Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm going to take a call a little earlier than usual, and the reason for that is because the person who has called, as I suggested he called, is actually the chap who's responsible for this hour of radio. Because at 5 to 4, I was told that somebody had called this programme, and being accessible, you have to be, I think. I said, oh, well, I'll take the call. And it was a chap called Sam, and he has taken my advice and called back whilst we're on air. Hello, Sam.
Hello.
We're doing an hour of radio, all thanks to you.
Yeah, that's quite exciting, actually, because I just put it on to find out what you'd be talking about.
Well, why don't you tell my listener what it was you were on at me about and what I had to say in the first place?
Well, I kind of in a situation where I need to find somewhere else to live. It's not as bad as it was about an hour ago, because I've gone and spoken to my landlord in the meantime and kind of might have rectified it for the just the foreseeable future.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, he's accepting a bit of rent in arrears. What I've done before is I've lived in squats before. Now, okay, I haven't done it for about 7 or 8 years, but I did spend nearly 6 years doing it. And the actual thing now is that it's actually illegal. It's actually been criminalised.
Yeah, so basically, you when you came on the radio to me, Sam, you were crossed with various people from Michael Howard downwards, and including a little bit crossed with radio stations that weren't doing enough to help homeless people. And so instead of asking me for any spare change, you asked me if I had any spare help.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes. Because I was driving around in a van the other day when I was doing some work. I've just lost this bit of work I was doing Thursday last week. And I was driving around and I was listening to talk radio because it's good. It keeps you concentrating when you're driving and all that. And you was talking about some kind of homeless or empty houses register. And you were saying there was 80,000 empty houses in the country. I mean, that to homeless people, that is well known. It is well known how many empty properties there are. And a lot of homeless people had spent time living in squats. And there actually are still what you could term legalised squatters now. People living in properties, I imagine anything up to 10,000 in the country, maybe more than that, who are actually living in properties where the owners have turned a blind eye to the fact that, that they're there. I mean, I've lived in a house before for 2.5 years, and in one winter there was 20 of us in that house, where the owners didn't mind us being there. The whole gambit about squatting was that it was very portrayed as sort of like a subversive element of society or something. Whereas,
And what I said to you was, Sam, here we go again. You got a bit of a problem in your life, and so it's Michael Howard's fault, and it's the government, and it's the state of the country, and the media skew it, and the public don't know what's going on. And I've heard that for 10 years. So why tell me it again? It's the media's fault, the country's in a state, the government don't understand, nobody knows but the homeless, and why don't people do something? And why have we got to hear it again?
Well, it is up to people's own, individuals' responsibility.
It's your responsibility to sort your life out.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But
So why don't you do
my
that?
argument now
but why the hell, when you're about to be thrown out on the streets, what on earth would anybody phone a radio station for?
Because you was talking about people who preferred to live in squalor. They didn't want to live in these nice empty houses, apparently.
No, you're just seeking attention.
Pardon?
You're just seeking attention. Can't you see that? You have to see that. You can't, and nobody in their right minds, and you may well be in your right mind, nobody in their right minds believes that radio stations actually help. We'll let people listen, but words don't change anything.
To ask for the number of this empty houses register. Because apparently there's a body. You was talking about it, and you were saying that.
Yeah, you see, I wasn't.
Didn't want to live
No, I wasn't. Shut up! I wasn't. I never have done.
What do you mean?
It wasn't me. It wasn't this radio station. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't me.
Well, it was the same time there was an article about 2 babies that had got swapped, and it was 3 years later they found out that these 2 babies had been swapped.
Stay there, Sam. Don't disappear. We'll keep you on hold. If anybody wants to talk to Sam or offer Sam some advice and maybe remind Sam of the difference between, for example, the media, radio, television, newspapers, and real life, it would save me another job. The number's free, call 0500 10 53 89. We're talking about, I'm going to use the word, it hurts to use it, and I don't think it should, but it does hurt me to use it because I'm a good bloke like you. We're talking about beggars. Now, there are lots of forms of begging. There's, could I have some spare change? And there's, my life isn't quite as good as I'd like it to be, and it's all your fault, so could you do something about it, please? I'll just sit and wait. That's the worst form. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
Tommy Boyd.
It sucks. I don't want to bring this up, but you've been treating a lot of people with a lot of disrespect.
I don't mind helping as long as whoever asks for my help doesn't make out that actually I'm supposed to, or it's my fault that they need to. I think that's where my reservations begin. But what about you? Free call 0500 10 53 89. Justin calls from Bristol. Justin, you're on Talk Radio. Welcome.
Hello, Tommy.
Justin.
Hi. Yeah, a little story about the, as you call them, beggars in Bristol. And he's making packet. He makes more than I do. Asking for this change. I know he's on the dole. He's claiming housing benefit for a place to live. He comes into the place where I work to change up his money into notes at the end of the day. 50 quid minimum. Christmas, 150 quid.
OK, now, Justin, we do hear stories like this, and what you're saying, it might be true. You don't know, it might not. But anyway, you're walking down the street in Bristol.
Yeah.
And you've got 60p in loose bits in your pocket. I don't know, 3 or 4 20s and some brown bits and a couple of 5s, yeah? And there's one.
Right.
Only spare what do they say? Got any spare change?
Okay,
spare any change, and what do you do?
Walk by.
Do you catch eye?
No.
Then to do that.
Simply, I used to, and there are quite a few very close to where I live. Busy main shopping street road, and I used to. But when I got this job, and this guy was coming in every day telling me about how much money he got, going home, this, that, and the other. You know, woman came up and she gave me a bag of shopping, this, that, and the other.
Can I ask you a question?
Don't want to know.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? I live on the south coast and I work mainly in London, although up to, around a bit, Birmingham, Manchester, Yorkshire. In Bristol, do you get, I'm going to ask this question, I don't care. Do you get black or Asian beggars?
No.
It's rare, isn't it? Almost unheard of.
I hadn't thought of it before.
No. But you'll notice it now.
No. Right.
No. Another journalist who is not me says it's only white trash that begs.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because I'm sure there are some that are genuine.
Yeah, I know. Here we go now. We better not. God might be watching. You've suddenly realised that God might be listening, haven't you? Yeah. Free call 0500 10 53 89. It's an expensive business, not so much financially, but emotionally. Let's go to Dave, who calls from Maidstone. Dave, you're on Talk Radio. Welcome. Let's get Dave up. There, Dave, there you are.
Hello?
Hi.
Hiya. Yeah, the black guy would have got treatment real fast if he was homeless. He would have got fast track over a white man. That's a fact. Anyway, I've squatted for a long time and begged.
As a fact?
Yeah, begged in churches.
What do you mean that's a fact?
Well, I know it's a fact. We're
not talking about homeless people.
Okay, begging, yeah?
Talking about beggars.
Okay, man.
Why aren't there any black beggars?
They get looked after.
No. Nope.
Okay then. All right. We'll disagree on that.
Because they got too much dignity.
Well, okay, man.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a church once, and the priest came up to me and he said, "Can you not please beg in the church?" I said, "But you're the biggest beggars of the lot."
No, they're not. No, they're not. You are.
No, but they're organised beggars.
Yeah. And you're not?
No, just individual.
No. You're not very good at English either, because there is a person can be organised on an individual basis.
Well, they're all organised.
What you mean is that there are more of them than there are of you, except there ain't now. There are now more people begging privately than work for the church. Far more, you know that. So you're more organised than they are, pal.
Well, I bust as well.
That's just begging with money.
No.
Yeah.
Begging with an instrument.
Begging with money.
No.
Nobody gives buskers money because they like the tune.
No, they give it because they're guilty.
No, they give it because at least those buskers aren't making them feel so shameful as people like you do when you beg. Do you know what you take from people when you beg?
No.
What?
Their pride.
Yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah?
That's their problem.
No, it isn't. That's satanic. That is Satan talking. That's Satanism. That is a satanic philosophy. That somebody, if somebody is hurt by something you do, that's their fault for making themselves vulnerable. That is, in a nutshell, what Satanism is. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Sure, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'll try and avoid it then. Thanks, Tommy.
You sound very smug to me.
No, man.
You sound like a tip. You sound like somebody who really does believe that it's all our fault that you're like you are.
No way, Tommy. No way. I mean, life is great. Even as a beggar, life is great. I mean, I don't complain. It's better than being born a beggar in Calcutta. This is pretty much the land of milk and honey as far as I'm concerned. It's pretty cool, and I'm very grateful.
Good, well, so at least it's nice to know that you can get to a phone.
I'm out of it now.
Oh, you're out of it now?
Yeah,
is that a step up or down?
No, up. I was homeless. I lost my wife and everything. Now I've got my house back and everything's fine. But, I was just down for a while. I knew I'd be back.
What was the first time you asked somebody for their change? Do you remember it? Like most people remember like their first love or the first goal they ever scored. What was the first time you ever said to a complete stranger, have you got any change?
I think you sort of ratchet it up. You go to churches, first of all.
Oh.
Ask for money.
Right.
Yeah. And but no, I don't. I never really did stand there and just ask.
And just going back to that other point, I do find it interesting that all beggars are young white men.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just because it reminded me of an incident.
No, but all beggars are young white men. You don't see middle-aged white men begging. You don't see old men begging. You don't see very many. You do see some, but very few young white women begging.
Tommy, in this life, you see what you want to see.
No, that's crap.
No,
that's rubbish.
Not crap on a politically correct radio station.
Absolutely appalling. What you're saying, that is an absolute denial of an interesting fundamental truth, presumably because you're either too lazy or stupid to confront it. Which?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I'll ask a question. I didn't expect you to be clever enough to know the answer, but I ask you the question, I'll ask it again. Why are all beggars young white men?
Because we live in a society which is predominantly young white men.
I
get you there, Tommy.
You're fantastic. And nobody else would have spotted that but you. That is brilliant.
I've been smoking something a bit strange.
You're hopeless, you are. You are hopeless.
I'm back on my feet anyway.
I'm back on your back by the sound of it.
Yeah, flat out.
Go on, off you go. Open some windows, man. Somebody else might be coming in the room in a minute.
Okay, man. Thanks a lot.
Man, thanks a lot. Honestly. I'm going to say it. What is the matter with the youth of today? There, that's the first time I've ever said that. Felt good too. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
To celebrate
Yes. We're discussing begging. It's a hard word to say. Saying begging, saying there are beggars, deciding what to do with beggars when they're in your life, is as difficult as walking on by. Somehow getting it out into the open and talking about it smears the ghost's face with ink a little, doesn't it? We've had our story about somebody who knows a beggar who makes an awful lot of money. I don't know about that. That isn't the issue, really. I think the issue is what it does to you when you hear about it, what it does to you when you see it. I brought my son into town the other day, and it was one of the things that he noticed, because begging takes place at child's eye level. It was one of the things that he noticed, and it hurt him. I could tell that he was damaged to see it. And I wasn't sure whether it was the best way for him to find out about that corner of the world. Although, of course, he's got to find out about it sometime. Free call 0500 10 53 89. But I didn't know as a dad what to do with my 11-year-old, what to do to show him generosity by giving everybody we passed who asked for spare change 50 pence, to give none of them any money, and to explain to your son that there was a sensible reason for that, although would he have understood at 11? Since I also bought him a Homer Simpson book, and that cost $9.99, so you know how to deal with it. How to deal with it. Free call 0500 10 53 89. Keith calls from Trowbridge. Keith.
Hello.
Welcome to Talk Radio.
Well, how to deal with it. When I go high, I kind of feel a bit guilty to see them. So I give them a little bit of spare change. But my mum says that when they have spare change, all they have to do is go to the pub and spend it on drink. Because that's how my mum taught me to deal with them as well.
But it still hurts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does hurt. And you're aged what now?
15.
Well, you see, it's something that most people listening didn't really have to deal with when they were 15. Because they weren't beggars, they were just the odd tramp. It's a new thing. you ever talk about it amongst your pals?
No, not really.
Not really. No. And where do you live? In Trowbridge?
Yeah, near Bath.
Near Bath. Are there many beggars?
There's quite a few in Bath.
Really?
But we go there quite regularly, so I see quite a lot.
Right. Do they do any good in a funny sort of way?
Not really.
No, make you think?
Don't see how... Yeah, they make me think.
Sort of human burglar alarm. I can't imagine that shops where people spend the night sleeping in the doorways are going to get robbed.
No.
No. It's kind of a half-thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's one of those kind of naughty half-thoughts you're kind of reluctant to react to. I know. Thanks for your call.
Okay.
Regards to your mum.
Yeah.
Paul's next. He calls from London. You're on Talk Radio. Hello, Paul. Paul's hung up. Not to worry. Steve in Billericay is next. Steve, hi.
Hi, Tommy. I live out in Essex, and it's we don't get any of that round where we are at all. I very rarely have to go into London. I used to live in London some years back, and I went in about 2 or 3 days ago into London and come across this young girl with a baby begging, and very tragic kind of look on her face, sort of thing. And this baby drapes over her arm, basically looked half dead, and I wasn't surprised because it was so, smoky and very claustrophobic in those places.
I know this one. She uses a Ribena carton.
Do you?
She takes the top.
I don't know.
No, they do. To remind you that it's for a baby, they usually use the remnant of some sort of child's product.
Well, the chant that went up
for the money.
Money for the baby. Money for the baby.
For the baby. Yes, I know.
Money for the baby. And I felt like going up to her and saying, "What the hell are you doing?"
Oh, I did.
Bringing this kid.
No.
You did.
I did.
Good.
And she looked at me.
Yeah.
And I said, "Who's your doctor?"
Yeah.
I got that off Jack Straw. I don't know what good it does to ask who the doctor is, but apparently a newspaper, right?
Yeah.
Back when it was a Tory government, a newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
Got a reporter to dress up as a beggar and go and ask Michael Howard, the Home Secretary.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Jack Straw.
Yeah.
Michael Howard wouldn't give him the time of day.
No.
Jack Straw said, have you got a doctor?
Yeah.
And apparently he couldn't get anywhere near whoever the Lib Dem one was. So I asked her if she had a doctor. And what she said to me is specific to her case. I'm not saying that this is a regular thing, but she said, we're trying to save money to go back to Ireland.
Well, I think it's... I mean, the scenarios that go through your mind at the time when you see all this, you think... especially when they've got children, though, you think, why are they doing this with their kids? Because if they've got children, they must be on some kind of housing priority list. Because you automatically assume they don't have any housing. But, I mean, why they bring young children down into the underground system? I mean, I couldn't wait to get out of the underground system and get a bit of fresh air, because it's horrible. But they just do. What my nan used to do, I mean, she's now departed. She lived in Hastings, and they've got quite a few down there. She used to give them a little bit of food, not actual money.
No, they don't want that, you hear.
People
say that if they go to the next sandwich bar and buy them a cheese sandwich, they look at them as if they're mad.
Well, the money, I mean, if you look at them, they take the money, I mean...
Maybe amongst some people who beg, okay, there is a dignity in doing that, because you're actually skinning somebody, money for nothing... And maybe there's a certain valour as far as they're concerned in that. I don't know. I'm speculating.
But then I don't feel there's real reason why they have to go down to that level to do that. I mean, I'm in a situation where I could maybe do that. I mean, I've lost my wife, I've lost my kids. I'm going to be thrown out of my house soon by the courts. I'm not going to go and begging.
No.
There's no way I'm doing that.
No.
No way.
No way.
No way, Jose.
Never.
It's not happening, you know?
I read a superb article by a writer called Tony Parsons, who said that he was writing about begging, and he said that his old man would rather his family had starved than see them out on the streets begging.
Right.
And
it
would probably have been a close call, actually. I wouldn't want them to starve to death.
Well, they always say as well, don't they, I can't go and see my family. They don't like me. They won't want me. And if they saw them like that, would they really walk by them?
Yeah.
If that girl's mum would walk by, would she walk by her?
Thanks for your call.
Thanks
very
much.
Hey, listen, good luck with everything.
Yeah, cheers. You too.
Cheers.
Excellent show.
Yeah, man.
Cheers.
Russell calls from Exeter.
Hello, Tommy.
Welcome to Talk Radio.
Hello, I've just had a letter published in my local paper on this subject. It's the first time I've ever written to a paper.
Oh, dear.
And it's the first time I've ever spoken on radio as well, so there's a bit of a one.
Big week for you.
It is. I nearly got on the wonderful hour with it. The thing is, I mean, I'm quite angry about this. I'm angry about being harassed, you know, and it just seems to me that they're asking me to hand over my wages to them. I've just, you know, you get paid, you go into town, I walk past these people and, you know, I've got bills to pay, I've got responsibilities. I feel I give out, you know, I pay taxes, I pay community charge. So I'm not very sympathetic. I mean, what I've said to one of them was, I said, do you want some money, do you want some food? And he said, well, I'll have some money. And I just wagged my finger and said, beggars can't be choosers. And he didn't find it very funny.
No, well, it isn't really.
No, but
I'll tell you what I have said. I'll tell you what I have said. We've got one down the road from here who sits next to these, he sits in between these two hole-in-the-wall machines, you know?
Yeah.
Cash points.
Yeah.
And he sits there, and there's two queues.
Yeah.
And so he just squats between them, and then he looks up first to the left and then to the right and just says, you need spare change.
Yeah, I get that cash point, and it puts you in an awkward situation.
No,
you think, well, I've just drawn out a tenner for so-and-so, and you think, oh, well, you know, I'm not giving you some of it.
Well, I do think it's an affront. So I've said to this chap twice now, you do know you're sitting in the wrong place, don't you, pal? Because this is not a spare change machine.
Yeah.
And people who come to this machine come because they haven't got any money, and the machine gives them notes.
Yeah.
And then I said to him, has anybody ever given you a note?
Yeah.
And he went, which I took to mean no or rarely. So I said to him, well, all you've got to do, pal, is go and find a spare change machine.
I bet some people do give them notes, because...
No.
Don't you think some of the more sort of elderly people get pressure put on them?
No.
I'll tell you something else I was thinking, Tommy, was whatever happened to the lovable old tramp of yesteryear? You don't get them anymore, do you?
No, you don't.
Do you think that they've been sort of driven out by the new sort of homeless, well, not homeless, beggars? Do you think they've sort of taken their place?
No, I'll tell you what it is. I think that nowadays so many people are eccentric.
Yeah.
Right? That it's been kind of legitimised.
Yeah.
Eccentricity. So that the behaviour of tramps doesn't stand out any longer. Do you know what I'm driving at?
Yeah.
A true tramp was somebody who just lived outside of society.
But they wouldn't take handouts.
The old Sunday Express article, which they ran about every 6 months, was that, you know, a tramp died and it turned out he was a millionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Like the old bag ladies and people like that, but you don't see them around anymore. No. I remember once when I was a child, and they wouldn't. People would give them food and they wouldn't accept it, but if they put it in the bin, they'd go and take it.
I think people would be suspicious and fearful of tramps nowadays. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
People with children would tip it off to the neighbourhood watch that there was a disreputable-looking character hanging around, and then before you know where you are, Bill is there, and then people get moved on.
That's true. I'll tell you, you had a call from Bath earlier. I've noticed something. Say I live in Exeter. When I've gone up to, say, Taunton or up to Bath, I've seen the same beggars as you get in Exeter. And they've moved around. But at the same time, if you go down to Cornwall and some of the really high unemployment areas like Cambourne, you don't see any.
Good quality tramps used to go south for the summer.
Yeah.
They used to go to the coast for the summer.
Yeah.
And then migrate back to a slightly warmer inner city area in the winter, because, I don't know if you know, but the centre of... Glasgow, Manchester, Newcastle, Liverpool, Birmingham, London, is about 3 or 4 degrees centigrade warmer in the winter than rural areas. Yeah, it's just the heat that the conurbation generates.
Yeah.
See?
Right, well, it's been great talking to you. I mean, I used to feel guilty about ignoring these people. I don't anymore. You know, as you say, I mean, you reach a stage where you just think that's enough.
Thanks for your call. Sam's managed to get back to the radio. Sam, who started the whole thing off by ringing this radio station and kind of making me feel as though it was our fault that he wasn't entirely happy with his life. Sam.
Hello.
Hello. Have you had a listen? People have been around the houses a couple of times. More than you'll be able to do shortly if what you were telling me was true. Sorry.
I actually felt a little bit, I don't know, pissed off that you'd gone from my argument about providing or having accommodation, not just for people who are, you know, like mothers or people who are ill, but for young men. Their accommodation is not provided. Because from going from that to begging, I kind of like felt...
still everybody else's fault, isn't it?
I'm not begging, crikey, you know?
Still everybody else's fault, isn't it, Sam, really?
Pardon?
It's still everybody else's fault, isn't it, really? Society, the media, the government, Michael Howard, probably your local authority,
My argument with that was simply that, you know, squatting was kind of like given such a bad name, whereas in actual fact, a lot of people who are living in squats made very, very, very nice houses out of them.
Free call 0500 10 53 89. We'll move the conversation on and take a look at another issue thrown at us by the important province of transport in the next slice of the programme. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good
million people. There's a good argument for living. Tommy Boyd's Street Beat Symphony with DHL Worldwide Express.
Okay. If you're interested in driving or transport or anything at all, this is fantastic because I know a question that you don't know the answer to. And there is a definite answer to this question. And it's an important question and a crucial answer. And I'll tell you the answer in just a second. The question is, what is the best colour for a car? You see, they sell you cars nowadays with all sorts of credentials, don't they? To do with its MPG and its maximum MPH and its 0 to 60 and its brake horsepower and whether it's got airbags and stuff and air conditioning and whether it's sexy and whether, you know, stuff. But still, if you ever buy a new car, you get to decide what colour it is. So you must have a view on what is the best colour for a car. And in a moment, I'll tell you whether you're right or wrong, because it is known by people who will not tell you, and they are the people in the know, in the crucial industries, who know what is the best colour for a car. You see, and I know. My wife hates white cars. She says only young ladies of ill repute who wear ankle bracelets would ever drive a white car. Free call 0500 10 53 89. And racing cars always used to be green. Not any old green, but British racing green. And men with their sports cars always thought that they had to be red, and many still do. But what is the best colour for a car? And it is official, and you'll be able to check this now if you want, but certainly over the weekend, and you will notice this more and more. The best colour for a car is dark blue. And how do I know that? And it was me what spotted it, so I might not be right, but that's what I'm saying. It's because every car that they use in an advertisement for that car, whether it's in a colour supplement or a hoarding or a television commercial, okay, and they don't do things by accident, these advertising boys, it's nearly always blue. So now you know. What is the best colour for a car? It's blue. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
DHL, the world's #1 international express courier.
Talk Radio is your station for nationwide football. In association with Nationwide Building Society, official sponsor of the Nationwide Football League. Every Saturday, join Moz D and his top team of commentators and experts for coverage of the Nationwide Football League, only on Talk Radio. This Saturday, Bolton Wanderers versus Sheffield United from kick-off to final whistle. And with the best analysis and your calls, what better way could there be to spend a Saturday afternoon than with Talk Radio? Saturday, 3 p.m., 10:53 and 10:89 a.m. Talk Radio and Nationwide Building Society. The world's #1 building society, supporting the nation's favourite game.
Excuse me, can I stop you and give you £50?
No.
Can I give you £50?
Yeah, right, what's the catch?
No catch, just going to give you £50.
No, I don't believe that,
Sir, will you take this £50 off me? You're having a laugh, aren't you?
It may seem hard to believe, but if you connect to a Core Cellnet digital tariff today, we'll give you £50. Call Cellnet now on 0800 40 50 30 or see in store for further details. This Cellnet offer ends 31st of August.
You get nothing for nothing. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and I'm just going to lunch.
Spider and the Flies with Get Down Now. Why the title, Spider?
Well, you've got to, haven't you? Get down to your Renault dealer now. 0% finance up to 3 years, and the McGann Elise ends this week.
Right.
And that goes for all the other great Renault freeways finance offers across the McGann range too.
A hairy thought, Spider. So, one call. Get Down Now.
For written details, ask your nearest Renault dealer or call 0800 52 51 50.
0% finance up to 3 years on the Megane Elise ends this week. Another big hit from Renault.
DHL Worldwide Express, the world's #1 international express courier.
Talk Radio. The success story continues. Now we're bigger and better than ever. Talk Radio, commercial radio station of the year.
Now, of course, why blue or plum, which is another popular colour when they advertise cars, never white, never black, and rarely, unless they're advertising for a car that they want women to buy, anything pastel-y. Why those shades are the best shades for a car, well, only the advertising boys know for sure. I would have thought it has something to do with the car's gravitas, its implied authority. And if you're buying a car, then the sell-on value of that car is obviously important, so you want something dark blue or plum red, or possibly very dark green. Sorry, I'm getting a bit D-Mob happy here. Terry calls from Stevenage. You're on Talk Radio. Terry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, very interested in what you talked about cars.
Are you now?
Yes, I am. I've got a 1975 Mercedes 280E, and it's a midnight blue with tan upholstery. I've just spent about five and a half grand on it.
Is that Hyde?
Yes.
Hyde?
Yes, it's absolutely kept to original.
And walnut dash?
Yes, all the business, electric windows on the front.
Did you buy it new?
I didn't actually. I bought it 9 years ago and spent a lot of money on it.
Right.
Also, I own an RX-7 with the Wankel engine, and it's in bright red.
No, it's in Wankel engine.
Yeah, it's an RX-7 Mazda.
Team sort of came awake.
Yeah, it's a very low sports car.
Sorry, I know.
Yeah, and I prefer to drive the Merc than I would the sports car.
Well, I'm not surprised. When you buy a second-hand car, you do still pay attention to... previously owned. You do pay attention to the colour, don't you?
Can I be very honest with you? I bought the Mazda because it was going cheap and someone was in trouble with money. But the Merc that I own, I bought it because I fell in love with the colour.
Really?
And I spent, as I have to say, loads of money on it. But when I drive down the road, Guy, do I look good?
He looks good in his blue Merc. Free call 0500 10 53 89. I was in a wine bar and a chap came up to me and he said, "Are you the bloke who's thinking of buying a Triumph?" And I had mentioned this to somebody in this wine bar about a week ago. It's funny, isn't it, how car dealers' minds work? And I said, yes. And he said, "I've got a very nice one I'd love you to have a look at." And then there was a pause and he said, "You're not one of these blokes who are bothered about the colour, are you?" Which was a good line because it suggested that I was a complete wimp, a wally, if I was bothered at all about the fact that it was rainbow coloured or something. It turned out, actually, it was lilac, and I did not buy it. Andy calls from London. Andy, you're on Street Beat Symphony. Good afternoon.
Tommy, hello, mate.
Welcome to Talk Radio.
Just thinking about it, I think you've got a good point there. This point I'm going to raise, it's not including the Michael Keaton or the Val Kilmers of this world. I'm talking about Adam West, the original, well, not the original, but the best Batman for my money.
Agreed.
What colour is the Batmobile?
Yes.
Dark blue.
It's the same colour as the most, the most authoritative suit colour.
Exactly.
On a man.
Well, and what colour was Batman's suit?
Yes.
Dark blue.
Was it? I always thought the Batmobile was black.
Well, now, it depends on which toy version. If you bought the Corgi or the Palitoy as a kid or whatever, one was dark blue, one was black. I went for the dark blue myself.
Well, I mean, the Adam West Batmobile was black, wasn't it?
I thought it was dark blue.
No, I think it was black.
I've been ripped off. I'm talking rubbish now. I have heard, however, that the colour not to buy statistically is green, because the green cars are involved in more crashes than any others.
Is that right? That is interesting.
I've heard that. I don't know why. I wouldn't be able to back it up with any sort of scientific hoo-ha.
You don't see many black cars anymore. I don't know why. Something to do with attracting the dirt? I don't know.
Could be.
But, and you don't get hardly any light brown cars anymore, but you used to.
And green cars as well.
And
many green cars.
Green cars, fewer green cars.
Fewer green cars.
Dark green's all right if it's got a few bulges and it thinks it's sporty.
But not bright green?
No.
No, not at all.
No. Well, thanks for your call. We'll go to Lee now, who calls from Cheshire. Pleasure's mutual. Lee, you're on Talk Radio. Welcome.
Hi, Tom.
Lee?
Super yellow. I've got a Fiat Bravo. Now, it's only a Fiat Bravo, but it's a colour. Everybody looks at the colour. Absolutely wonderful. And as far as the adverts go, all the cars in the adverts are platinum.
How old is it?
My car?
Yeah.
2 years old.
Got any rust spots?
Nope.
Will do soon, though.
It won't.
Well, they do.
No.
Well, they all do. All I'm saying is this: have you ever tried to match colours with a bit of spray?
Nope.
Not easy.
Yeah, but everyone looks at it, Tom. Everyone looks at it. If it was blue, I know no one would look at it.
Yeah, but you've got to sell it on now, Lee.
Well, the colour will sell.
What? It won't.
I bought it for that colour.
You didn't seriously think I'll buy a yellow car? That'll keep its price up when I come to flog it on.
Yeah. It wasn't a car I was looking at. I passed the showroom, saw it, and we bought it. Honestly.
Yes, I'm sure, honestly. And now lots of people look at you.
Nope.
But they're going to look at you and they're going to walk away when they come to buy it. You'll put the advert in the postcard in the newsagent's window, Lee, I promise. You won't put that it's yellow.
I will. Tom, what colour car do you drive?
Well, it's white.
Oh, see?
But no, but I don't pay attention to things like that. I honestly didn't pay any attention to that car. It's only a car, you see.
Mm.
When I had sports cars, they were red. I got one that was ivory.
Right.
Yes. But if I do ever, get myself a saloon car, and I'm thinking it through, and it's new, and I get to choose the colour, I would choose royal blue, because it does keep the value of the car up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You check the adverts. Look for platinum.
Platinum. Free call 0500 10 53 89. This is Street Beat Symphony with DHL Worldwide Express. Stuart calls from Watford. Hello, Stuart.
Well, you are talking absolute trot.
Thank you.
Dark blue.
Yeah.
You know what they call it in the trade?
No.
Doom blue.
Doom blue. Well,
white?
Yes.
60-day white.
Yes.
60 days, because it takes 60 days or plus to sell a car that's white.
Yes.
Cars of absolute disaster.
Yes.
So don't buy a dark blue car.
Yes, but when I'm selling on my dark blue car, you see, Stuart, I'm going to do it privately. I'm not going to go to one of you Arthur Dailies. Yourself, pal.
Doom blue is doom blue, whether it's an Arthur Daily or whether it's a non-Arthur Daily, whether it's a private sale. Doom blue will never sell.
So
you buy a doom blue car, you're stuck with it for life.
So why, then, are all the cars in the car ads dark blue? I rest my case.
That's a good point you make.
I know.
You should really ask that question of the manufacturers who make these bizarre colours that nobody should ever be buying. They look lovely when they're glossy and shiny in a nice new showroom or on a nice glossy advert on the television.
Perhaps
but when you've got the car down the road and it's got a bit of dirt on it and it's 2 weeks old, it looks dreadful.
Let me ask you a question. What colour suit do you wear when you sell your rust buckets?
I don't wear suits.
Well, perhaps you should. Why
perhaps
do most...
I should. Maybe you're right.
Why do most men wear dark blue suits?
Well, I don't know. You tell me.
Partly because, okay, it looks smart, but you notice the person, not the clothes.
Right.
Okay? There's an authority there, but an anonymity which compels you to concentrate on the quality of what is beneath the fabric. And maybe the advertisers tend to use dark blue cars in their adverts for the same reason, because they don't want you to notice, ooh, magenta, ooh, white. They want you to notice the overall shape of the thing, and concentrate more on its features.
Well,
its
I think
colour.
that's a very good point you make, but with all due respect, I think it does depend strongly on the individual model of the make of the car, because some cars are advertised with the most gaudy, garish colours you've ever seen in your life.
And the sex of the buyer as well. I suppose you sell most of the white cars to women.
No, I've never sat down and analysed who buys white cars from me. I think, to be frank with you, the sort of cars that we're selling, people are not buying on colour, they're buying on the basis of a lot of other factors, because I'm selling, shall we say, slightly older cars. But certainly if you're looking at a car that's, say, under 3 or 4 years of age, don't buy Doom Blue. No. It's a kiss of death.
Listen, mate, thanks for your call.
Nice to talk to you.
Very nice to talk to you for cash.
For cash. Stick some cash in that hand.
Have a good weekend.
And to you.
And I look forward to talking with you from 3 on Tuesday. Stand by for Peter Dealey. I'm Tommy Boyd. This is Talk Radio. There's a good argument for listening.
DHL Worldwide Express, delivering across the planet.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. Comment too if you wish. Even slap your legs and make a purchase from Ann Summers. But don't do nothing.